Welcome to Learning Canadian English, the podcast for learners who want to understand Canada better. I'm Avery.
And I'm Zia. Welcome to episode 19.
Today we're talking about something truly Canadian, an institution, you might say, a place that is part of the daily routine for millions of people here.
That's right, we're diving into the world of Tim Hortons.
If you've ever been to Canada or even just seen pictures of Canada, you have probably seen the red and white logo. It feels like it's on every corner.
Oh, absolutely, it's everywhere. So grab a coffee, maybe even a double-double, and let's get started.
So, Zia, for our listeners who might not know, what exactly is Tim Hortons? Can you break it down for us?
Of course, on the surface, it's a fast food chain. It's most famous for coffee and donuts, but as you said, it's so much more than that to Canadians.
Mm-hmm.
It was started way back in 1964 by a famous hockey player named Tim Horton.
Right, a real Canadian legend from the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Exactly. The very first store was in Hamilton, Ontario. Now, there are thousands of them all across Canada, and they've expanded to other countries too.
And they sell more than just coffee and donuts. They have these little donut holes they call Timbits.
Yes, Timbits are iconic. They also sell breakfast sandwiches, regular sandwiches for lunch, soups, and other baked goods like muffins and cookies. It's a fast food restaurant, but with a very specific, very Canadian feel.
You can't just say Timbits and not elaborate. For our listeners, it's not just one flavor. A box of Timbits is like a treasure chest, a very Canadian feel. I think that's the perfect way to put it. It's not just about the food and drink, is it? It's about the culture around it.
Totally. It's woven into the fabric of daily life here. People go there for their morning coffee run before work. You'll see long lines at the drive-thru every single morning.
Right, a morning ritual.
And it's not just for adults. High school students hang out there after school. Seniors meet up there in the mornings to chat for hours. It's a real community hub.
It really is. I have a strong memory of going there with my hockey team after early morning practices. We'd all be there, freezing cold and still in our gear, getting hot chocolate and Timbits.
Oh, of course. The connection with hockey is huge. Since Tim Horton was a player, the company has always been deeply involved in supporting community sports.
Yeah,
They sponsor so many local kids' hockey and soccer teams. They call them the Timbits teams, and the little kids get to wear jerseys with the Tim Hortons logo on them.
it's a rite of passage for many Canadian kids. And speaking of rituals, we have to talk about the famous contest, Roll Up the Rim to Win.
Oh, you have to explain that. It's a national obsession.
It is. For a few months every year, usually starting at the end of winter, the rims of the paper cups have a little message hidden under them. You have to literally roll up the edge of the cup with your thumbs to see if you've won a prize.
Mm-hmm.
The prizes can be anything from a free coffee or donut, all the way up to a brand new car or a big cash prize.
Exactly. And you see people everywhere in their cars, at their desks, struggling to roll up these tough paper rims. It's a whole event.
It's a whole ritual. For many people, it's a symbol that spring is finally approaching after a long, cold winter.
That's a good point.
So, what's your go-to order, Zia? What's your favorite thing to get at Tim's?
Ooh, that's a tough one because it has changed over the years. When I was a kid, it was all about the honey cruller donut. They are so light and airy.
A classic choice. Very respectable.
But now, I think I'd have to say an iced cap in the summer. It's their blended frozen coffee drink. It is so refreshing on a hot day.
Iced caps are dangerously good. So delicious. I actually read a little about them. They were introduced way back in 1999.
Oh, wow. I didn't know they'd been around that long. I remember when they first came out, it was a huge deal. Nothing else was quite like it.
Exactly. It was revolutionary for a Canadian fast food chain. It's a mix of coffee, cream, sugar, and flavoring, all blended with ice. It became so popular that it's now one of their signature items. They even have different versions now, with whipped cream or different flavor shots, like vanilla or caramel.
It's the perfect summer drink. It's funny, Tim's is so associated with warming you up in the winter, but the ice cap is the king of the summer.
They are, and I always get a box of assorted Timbits for my family to share. Everyone has their favorite. What about you, Avery? My standard order is a double-double and a toasted everything bagel with herb and garlic cream cheese.
Okay, you absolutely have to explain what a double-double is for our listeners. That's a key piece of Canadian vocabulary.
You are so right. A double-double is a coffee with 2 creams and 2 sugars. It's such a common order that you don't even have to say the whole thing. You just walk up and say, "Can I get a medium double-double?" And they know exactly what you mean.
It's even been added to the Canadian Oxford Dictionary. That's how significant it is.
Wow, I didn't know that, but I'm not surprised. I also have so many memories of road trips that were fueled entirely by Tim Hortons coffee and Timbits.
That's so true. It's like a landmark on the highway. You can't drive for more than half an hour without seeing a sign for the next Tim's. It's reliable. You always know what you're going to get.
Exactly. Okay, we'll just stop at the Tim's in the next town to use the washroom and get a coffee. It's part of the Canadian road trip experience.
It's amazing how much a simple coffee shop can mean to a country's identity.
It really is. It's a taste of home for many Canadians, whether they're here or living abroad.
You know, it's funny you say it's a taste of home because the taste itself is a topic of, let's say, passionate debate among Canadians.
Haha, you can say that again. Some people are lifelong, devoted fans who will defend Tim's coffee to the end. They love its simple, familiar taste.
Exactly. The great Timbits draft, it's a serious business.
Haha, you can say that again. Some people are lifelong, devoted fans who will defend Tim's coffee to the end. They love its simple, familiar taste.
So let's do a quick vocabulary recap from today's episode. These are some great Canadian English words and phrases to know if you want to sound like a local.
Good idea. First up, we have Tim's or Timmy's. These are the common nicknames for Tim Hortons, as in, "I'm just running to Timmy's. Do you want anything?"
Then we have Timbits. Those are the small, bite-sized donut holes that come in many different flavors.
Next, and maybe the most important, is the double-double. That's a coffee with 2 creams and 2 sugars.
You could also hear someone order a triple, which would be 3 creams and 3 sugars.
That's a lot of sugar. And our final phrase is roll up the rim to win, which is the name of their very popular annual contest.
Perfect. So if you ever visit Canada, make sure you stop at a Tim Hortons. It's a true cultural experience, not just a coffee run.
Definitely. And try a maple dip donut while you're at it. You can't get more Canadian than that.
That's all the time we have for today on Learning Canadian English. Thanks so much for listening.
Join us next time for another look into life and language in Canada. Bye for now.
Bye.